Camden National Bank is celebrating 150 years of supporting the communities of Maine and New Hampshire. And it's all thanks to you. From one location in Camden to 72 banking centers today, our journey has only been possible because of your trust and loyalty. One thing that remains constant is our commitment to giving back, from supporting local businesses at Autumn Gold in Ellsworth, sponsoring the Seaside series in Stonington, to helping the elderly at Acadia Senior College. We're grateful to have this vibrant community be part of our story. And thank you to our partners, Downeast Famous, that's celebrating the people who make this region so special. Here's to the next 150 years together.
Welcome back to the Downeast Famous podcast, where we focus on small businesses in Downeast, Maine. My name is Jena Young, and I'm here with my co-host, April Shaw-Beaudoin. And we are in the historic and gorgeous Criterion Theater, which is right here in downtown Bar Harbor. And on top of that, we are here to interview the interim director of this theater. We have Allison Sullens here with us, and it is exciting to talk with you and hear more about what you have planned here at the theater.
I'm so excited to be here, and this is such a fun thing to be filming here at the theater, which is like you said, an incredibly beautiful space that's been here since 1932. And so answer any questions you have.
I would love to know a little more about your history specifically with Bar Harbor and how you ended up here and why it's such a special place for you.
Well, that's easy, actually. So my parents were Maine enthusiasts since we were small children, and we came up here in a camper van and camped at all the national park campgrounds, Blackwoods and Seawall. And then we ended up moving up to a motorhome at some point and got to stay at Mount Desert Campground and just enjoyed being here every single summer since as far back as I can remember. And I have pictures of myself on Cadillac Mountain when I was, 3 with my sisters. And we had no idea that there was, these small enclave communities on the island. It wasn't, we always thought it was more of a summer community and people just came here on vacation. And so as my, got older, we still came here every year for probably 2 to 3 weeks each summer. And then my husband, when we were dating, he was my husband, I suppose, I brought him up here because it was something that I loved so much. And he fell in love with Maine. He felt like it looked just like Northern California and felt like Northern California to him. And we ended up getting engaged, and he and I decided to get married up here in Bar Harbor. And so we ended up getting married at the Astico and having an amazing wedding there. And then by just happenstance, a house came on the market the weekend of our wedding that our real estate agent, Sue Collier, was so enthusiastic about. And so she said, you have to see this place. You have to see this place. And we ended up buying our property on our honeymoon, which was August Moon, wow, which was Brooke Astor's old estate on the quiet side of the island. So that was kind of the trajectory, was very fast about, getting a house here. And so we've been coming up here now together for almost 19 years. We've had our house here. So it's been amazing. And now my whole family lives on our street. And we spent COVID here, and we've just been spending, as much time up here as we possibly can over, the course of the last 20 years.
You were meant to be here.
I love it. It's definitely my, my special space, and I can't imagine our lives without it. I mean, my kids love it here more than any place else, and it's just become, such a tradition for everybody.
Yes, you're ingrained in the community.
Yeah, COVID taught us, that about how many amazing people live on this island, and the diversity of, so many backgrounds. We have friends with so many people, and they've been so welcoming. And it's just been, part of the reason why we were so interested in doing this, because we have understood like the challenges of living here year round, how difficult it can be to raise a family here, how difficult it can be to find work here and find housing. And so, these are all issues that we were really, noticed and have a lot of empathy for people who live here full time, because it's not an easy place to stay, some of those darker months.
True. So true. So that was your journey bringing you to the island. Mm-hmm. How about your journey here as the interim director of the Criterion Theater?
So truly, if you would have asked us this time last year if I would be running the Criterion Theater, even any portion of this, I would say you were absolutely crazy. But mid-January, Michael Boland called my husband up and said, the Criterion Theater just closed, and Steve was like, well, why? I was like, we thought we've seen shows there this summer. We thought everything was going well. And then they explained that there was a lot of financial difficulty. There'd been some repairs that were costing, more than had been expected, and that the board was really looking to find a place to put or somebody to take over the Criterion and operate it. So we took the theater over to start creating a sustainability for it moving forward. Our goal was to take over the theater and start operating the business or the theater as a business, but a nonprofit business where there's just a change in how all the operations worked. It really needed to be addressed so that there was opportunities to make money for the theater that can create the sustainability that it needs, because all the money that was going out was not helping keep the employees and keep the programming where it really deserved to be. And so we really think that through our foundation, Harper House Music Foundation, we'll be able to really put things in place that the community needs, and also will generate enough of an income to hopefully find a way to make this place break even in some capacity over the next 7 years when we reach the centennial of the theater.
Yes, the theater definitely deserves support. I came and saw David Sedaris here, and it's such a buzz and such an energy. And a lot of renovations were done by the board that preceded, but...
Absolutely. The board did a really nice job raising money, and they did a thorough renovation. And it's been, we could never have done what we're doing now if we had to walk into a renovation as well. So it's kudos to the board prior to us for, taking care of the theater as well as they did, because that's not even a concern to us right now, is the structural aspects of the theater.
So where do you take it from here?
Right now, we are in the middle of the season. So we have somehow managed to pull together 26 shows.
Oh. Yeah.
We took over we signed the papers somewhere mid-March. And between then and now, we've basically been able to book 26 shows and pull together this incredible season that, we're learning so much from. I mean, I've never worked in this type of environment. So I'm, doing everything from changing kegs to figuring out how many milk duds we need to talking to advertising agencies and radio stations and doing, writing radio scripts. And
right.
I mean, there's nothing actually right now that we haven't kind of dipped our toes in, because there's no one else to do it. We've got a GM in place and some staffing, but right now we're really focused on, figuring out what the immediate needs are and start making a strategic plan moving forward. And obviously the most important part about that is finding an executive director that can really has vision for a community theater, because, across the United States and probably across the world, theaters like this don't survive without the support of community members and support of businesses and foundations. It's just too difficult. One of our foundation's goal is to support musicians, and, the musicians are struggling, the theaters are struggling, everybody in the whole kind of chain of command is struggling. And so figuring out ways to support everyone along the way, and also, bring education into the theater, bring different type of programming. We'd love to see so much more done here.
Do you think that you'll be able to find an executive director here on MDI, or are you doing a kind of countrywide search?
We are. So we started an executive search. We were using a search firm from the same search firm who worked with the College of the Atlantic to find their development officer. And so we're pretty far into that process right now. We haven't made any decisions, but we are getting closer. And so our goal would be to have somebody placed by October, November. But, we had a call actually this morning, and I said, until I'm 100% sure, we're 100% sure that it's the right person with, all of the qualities and perspective that we need here. I don't want to rush anything, because, there's nothing worse than having to go and change down the road if it's not the right fit. So, we are not biased to somebody from the island or away. It's just really finding, it's unique. It's a very unique place here with the seasonality and also how many tourists come and go. And so it's not like a regular, town theater where it's a condensed audience. It's, it's coming and going all the time. And this, as you know, this town empties out in about 3 months.
Yes.
So, but just because the town empties out doesn't mean that the residents don't, they're still here. And so the opportunity to make this a hopefully year-round, but at least a much longer season for people here.
On the Camden Famous podcast, we had the Strand Theater executive director come on. And one of the things she shared, which I had no concept of, is that theaters are not self-sustaining. They absolutely rely on donations from the community or foundations to step in and help augment and really pay for having an executive director and all the features and things that happen in theaters. And
for sure. I mean, even, I'm a huge Broadway fan and I live in New York City the remainder of the year. And, even Broadway, like every Broadway show supported by people with through grants and different type of funding, all of the theaters in New York City are supported through membership programs. So it's really challenging to make something sustainable. And I applaud all of these theaters because I truly didn't understand how much they were hustling to get the, build endowments and find the people that are going to support these type of things. But I truly believe that the community from away needs to very much lean into supporting the community here. The community here is what supports their life in the winter. And I know this is somebody from away that I rely on everyone here to keep my life going when I'm here on vacation with my family, and to have created the 20 years of memories I have is very much, they're very much responsible for all of those things. And so, as we start creating our strategic plan, it's going to rely on a lot of the people who come here, and that's where our focus is hopefully going to be on the people that rely on this community, in all sorts of different ways.
What show are you most excited for that you've booked for this season?
So we've had some great ones, but I'm really looking forward to Chris Thiele in mid-August on the 16th. He is an incredible mandolin player. He played with Nickel Creek. He, sells out the Beacon Theater in New York City, and he's just a virtuoso. He is absolutely incredible. And he is doing a one-off from his tour to come up here and play for Bar Harbor. And the tickets are selling really great, and we're so excited. Every show, there's a little bit larger audience. So we started out, 150 to 200, 250. So we're slowly getting our way up there. And, I think every person who's been here to play has been really grateful and generous with their time and been so enthusiastic about what we're doing. And so it's been so positive. We were just in Newport last weekend for the Newport Folk Fest that we were involved with through some of our foundation's objectives. And we had Lucius here last week, which was one of the headliners at Newport Folk Fest.
Yes.
So it was really exciting to say, we just had this huge band that's touring nationally, just, come to Bar Harbor. So it was, it's not something that's been common around here for a long time.
It's true. A lot of our staff was at the Lucius concert.
Yeah,
I know, because they were requesting time off to come to the concert.
I know, that's the tricky thing.
They were excited.
Everyone's killing themselves right now that lives here.
Yeah, we were happy. We were happy for them to come. But how do you have these connections, or how do you book acts?
So we use a booking agent. That's a funny story, because when we decided we were taking over the theater, we have a lot of connections through what we've been doing with the foundation, but you can only rely on these connections so far. But so I took it upon myself to start literally Googling the artists. I made a list of every artist I'd like to see, then found their management company, and then I just started writing emails to all these different managers and saying, listen, I'd really like your band to play here. I'd like your band to play here. And most of these people were like, huh? Like, who are you? Yes, it worked way better than you would have thought it would. But then, and obviously, as soon as I found out that it wasn't just like a handshake agreement that you're coming to play, we quickly handed it off to our booking agent, because I certainly wasn't in a position to, advance a band through this whole process.
Complex.
There's so many. We're talking about like what type of lights we have, what type of PA system. This isn't something that was, in my knowledge base. All of a sudden it is, But I mean, I still have tremendous amounts to learn. But I was like, I'm pretty proud of myself that I got this many people to respond to me. And
Absolutely.
I was very excited. Like people would start following me on Instagram, artists, because I'd like been like hassling their managers. So I'm sure they were trying to figure out who we were.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was definitely an interesting couple of weeks until I learned that this was definitely not going to be something I was going to take over.
So the booking agent helps with all of that.
Yes, and we're really excited. I mean, hopefully that's one of the areas that I'm going to stay very much involved with is the programming, because my husband and I we feel very strongly about, bringing the best music we can possibly get to the theater here. And also, I mean, we'd love to expand where we're doing comedians and much more stronger speaker series and, bring different types of things here instead of just music.
Who would be your dream group or act or person?
I mean, there's so many. I mean,
let's set our sights high.
I mean, it's like Natalie Merchant. I'm really, we've done a project with her. She's
April
amazing.
Will be there. Yeah.
Our foundation did a project with her through the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and she's getting ready to launch it this year. So I can't say exactly what it was, but it's amazing. And so she, through her tour this year, had called the theater mid, I don't know, December or something, and the theater had been closed at that point. And so they said they didn't book the thing, or they didn't book a date. But I've been in contact with her. I'm like, any chance you would pop up to our little theater? And she said she will definitely do her best to make it happen. I mean, I'm just in love with her. I'd love to see the Indigo Girls here. They're one of my favorites. I mean, I'm so obsessed with music, so there's, I mean, probably the list of names is endless.
I'm sure.
Billy Strings, if you're out there, you could come.
Yeah.
But, I'd love to see Dawes here. Maybe that could happen. Anyways, but the list could go on forever.
That's great.
I'd love for you to expand a little bit about your love for music. Did you go to school for music?
I didn't, but it was always just something that music really resonated with me. And then I met my husband, who is, to be obsessed with something music-wise is an understatement. He has a photographic memory and basically knows more about music than probably anyone I've ever met. He would probably be humble and say, no, that's not true. But he's also an incredible Bob Dylan fan. He's on the board of the Bob Dylan Center out in Tulsa and is involved with the Woody Guthrie Center. And when I first met him, I knew that we had so much in common due to the music connection, but then I saw that he had every CD that he owned, which was hundreds, organized alphabetically, chronologically by date it came out, and then, had a spreadsheet of every concert he'd seen, every concert ticket he had. And so I was like, he's taken this next level with me. So he's gotten a little bit less obsessive about keeping things. And he has all his posters too, from every show he's ever been to. But as we've gotten married, I've weeded out some of that stuff. But, I think it's just, fundamental in our house. We all have different tastes of music. My kids they don't share the love of exactly the same genre of music that my husband and I do, but we love everything from Taylor Swift to, Steve Earle. It's like a really, really broad range of things we're interested in.
It's always fun to see people align their lives with what they're passionate about and how much life that brings them.
Now, my husband just recently retired from his, long-term job working in finance. He worked somewhere for 26 years, and now is dedicated full-time to his foundation, and he's just so happy. And not that his career didn't bring him a tremendous amount of pride and joy, but like this is his baby, and he's really making great strides with the foundation, and it's nice to see.
What do you need from the community? I know the easy answer is money. Like, what do you need?
Actually, yes, but honestly, there's so many things. Right now is patience. Because every time we have a show, something needs a little bit of tweaking, and all of we had an extra row of seats that we were selling tickets to, and then we realized it wasn't. Whoops is right. And so on a night of a show, we're running around reseating people, and so it's just us saying, this is we're still very new at this, and we just need some patience. suggestions. We don't know what works. We don't know whether or not having 3 shows in a weekend sets us up for success or not. We don't know what people want to see here. For me, I'd love to see children dancing in here. I'd love to see dance studios for kids have the recitals here. I'd love to see the school in here. I would love to see College of the Atlantic engage in some of their summer institute here. I mean, there's so many opportunities to collaborate with other organizations on the island, and that's something in previously that hasn't really been done. And it's a shame for a space like this that's sitting here to not be utilized year round. And even to have community meetings, with just the MDI hospital and everyone getting together to discuss the closing of the maternity center. And I would have loved to host something like that here in a forum where people had the place to sit and talk and be, understand each other. So like those are all things that we'd like to see. And people, the only way I know about a lot of this stuff is if somebody brings it to me and says this is our suggestion. And a lot of people are doing that. And so also the patience of us being able to get back to them, because people are like, I want to talk to him. Like, I'm coming. I can't right now. I'm like just so overwhelmed right now. I'm all overwhelmed in a good way, but it's still, this is just something so new, but we're really happy with all the strides I've made. And so patience, suggestions, obviously, membership is going to be a big thing, but we keep saying this also every time we have a show. Steve and I get up and say a few words, is that we need people to make a habit of coming to the theater. Get on there, look at the website, get on our Instagram page, get on Facebook, and see what's going on. Buy tickets, because artists don't want to play for theaters where there's not a good audience, right? And so it just feels a little cavernous if you don't have enough of an audience in here. So get in here, buy seats. We're doing everything we can to keep things as affordable as we possibly can. We're not trying to, we're truly not trying to make money off of anything. We just have to reimburse the artists for, what we're paying them. And so the goal is to just get as many butts in the seats here as we possibly can, so people get used to coming here and get used to some of the obstacles that it takes to get here, like the parking. Annoying. So annoying. It is what it is. Like, I find a parking spot here all the time. Somehow I do it. So people do it. So we need to say it's just the cost of having a great night out. Come 15, 20 minutes early and find a spot. And so they, being patient with that aspect of here. But, hopefully when it starts slowing down, there is more parking and there'll be more things to do in the off season. So we have a show booked, and we've got shows booked in October, November, and December. So there's no problem with parking, ladies and gentlemen, during those times.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah.
And do you keep your Instagram really up to date with that information?
Yes.
Okay.
Instagram, we have an amazing woman doing all of our social media. And so it's completely changed. I was doing that. I don't know how to make a reel from a story to anything. So that was quickly taken away from me and given to an amazing person who is doing a great job and, highlighting our guests, not only the entertainment, but also the community members who have been so supportive. I mean, we have so many people that have been, come to every show, and they come up to me and they're just so nice and saying that how excited they are about the future of the theater. And it's really incredible feeling to be doing something that so many people are so excited about. Because from being away, I was just like waiting for that Facebook argument to come. Like, who are these people from New York? Oh gosh, what are they going to do in here? And we've had none of it. I mean, a couple little one-off comments here and there on Facebook, but in general, it's just been like overwhelming, the support by people in the community. So it's been, really, really great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And unusual. In Camden, it's the same way. Mm-hmm. Any sort of change and from away, it can really be met with a lot of pushback and controversy. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to hear you're not experiencing that.
If you hadn't done it, I don't know who would have.
Mm-hmm. And thank you. But I do believe that if we can't do this, no one can. So we've got a really strong background in business management and being able to look at how expenses work and how to try and make things, flow, and how we can, bring the the organization into, a more well-oiled machine. But also, like, our goal was not just to operationally, fix things. Our goal was to really have the opportunity to write grants for programs in towns here and farther away. And we've also had so many nonprofits come to us and talk to us about partnering with us on programs here. We had somebody come who wants to talk about doing a Battle of the Band program that would reach all the way up to Washington and Aroostook counties and also encompass this area. So there's just so many really interesting things that people are coming to us with. And I think that they all really match with the goals of what we want for the theater, and also, the foundation, the Harper House, where we really have the financial structure to help a lot of these organizations, which is great.
One thing I can tell you that I already admire about you, just knowing so little, is that you're willing to do anything, but you're also able to recognize when you're not the best person to do it. When you're talking about social media, you're saying, I'm here, I will do it, but then I'm happy to pass it off when it's time to pass it off, and there's no ego wrapped up in it. And I think that's really cool.
No, I mean, honestly, I'm one of the strengths about myself is that I'm very, very aware of myself, and I'm, just personally. And I always say to people, I was like, I'm very aware of what I'm doing, and it may not be the right thing or the best thing for myself. It might not serve me, but I know I'm doing either right or wrong, or being silly or angry or about something stupid. Yeah. I can identify that in myself, and especially around here, I know when somebody is, the value that people bring their knowledge here and what I'm capable of doing. But one thing I've learned myself is that this is the learning curve has been incredible for me as a woman coming out of raising 3 kids for the last 15 years and really throwing themselves into a completely different path. And I, like I said, I would have never, ever believed that I could do this or would be doing this. And it's just taught me so much about just commitment to do something and really throw yourself into things, even if you're very scared. And so, it's been incredible. And it's been a wonderful thing for my husband and I to be, working this closely together, because I don't work as closely with his foundation as I am with this project. So thank you for acknowledging that. But I'm really positive and super excited about this.
Yeah, it's a great leadership quality. Well, that's a good segue to my last question, which is, through this new role that you're playing, what has been the most meaningful or surprising moment for you?
The most meaningful, I think, is people telling me what this place means to them, and knowing that we have the ability to really create change in an environment, and like we could really create change for this community. I mean, if you look at data and all this research, communities thrive when they have hospitals, libraries, theaters, like the ability to access the arts, and to bring children in here for the first time, to have this be the first stage that they ever dance on, to have somebody come in and play, the trombone here, whatever they're going to do. It's pivotal for people or children and their parents. It's amazing that we really do have the ability to change life and change the trajectory of a town. And that to me is really rewarding and super interesting. And I love seeing the people's faces. I met so many people. Mm-hmm. It's just been, we just met today, and you own a restaurant right across the street. I've been meaning to come over and knock on the door, but time is never allowed. But, it's really nice to be, getting deeper and deeper into a community that has done so much for us and we love.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Before we go, one of the questions we always like to end with is, what are you famous for? So what is the Criterion Theater famous for, would you say?
Wow, I thought that was going to be personal. I was like, wow, I don't know what that would be. What is the theater famous for? Obviously, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It was built in 1932. It's been preserved as it was back then. And there's just an incredible amount of history here. The town burned down. This stood through it. There's all these stories of bootlegging and all sorts of ghosts in the theater and things like that. And so I think it's famous for just what it brings in terms of history for the theater and or for the town. And they're very proud of it. People that live here are very proud of the theater, and that's really great. I think the theater's famous in the town.
Perfect answer.
Yeah.
And where can people find more about upcoming shows?
So our whole schedule's on www.criteriontheater.com. criterion.org. And obviously follow us on Instagram and Facebook for Criterion Theater.
Is it, I think, 1932 Criterion on Instagram?
And then Criterion Theater on Facebook. That Instagram meta's really...
Yeah. And is theater spelled different?
It's spelled Theatre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Thank you
so much for having me.
For letting us use the theater.
Oh, of course. No, we were thrilled to do that.
Thank you.